Which medium is actually better for drawing, iPad or paper? Let's find out. We'll be drawing this fantastic Vitra interior on both. We'll be working in the Procreate app. This is the drawing app that runs on Apple only, and this is the drawing app I create all of my interior projects in. And as for paper, we'll mostly be using this black pen. It can be ordered on Amazon, and make sure to prepare a couple of Copic markers. But in case you don't have any, it's not a problem at all, because today we'll be creating black and white contours so that you have an idea of what it's like to draw on both. Now, before moving on to the drawing process, let me inspire you a little bit with some of my digital sketches that were created using a simple drawing technique that imitates real markers and real pens. For instance, this collage was created using just two digital brushes, a black pen and a marker, but digital ones. And in case you still need that paper feel, you can also print your illustrations out like this. Just look at this paper quality and it looks like a real paper sketch, right? Let me show you a couple of more examples. For instance, this interior was created also imitating the real materials, and this is its real version, real life version, so to speak. Just look at all these strokes. The cool thing about digital drawing is that we don't need to be frustrated when we make a mistake, because I don't know about you, even though I've been drawing for over 10 years, sometimes I still mess up my composition, and it's totally okay. I'm a human being, right? We all make mistakes, whether in life or in paper. And the thing is that when we work on paper, we need to erase our mistakes, right? And the sketch doesn't look as neat as it used to look before our erasing process. But when we work on the iPad, guess what? We have the powerful undo button. Here it is, by the way. Let's try it out together. For instance, I made a mistake somewhere here. And instead of having to erase it or redraw the entire sketch, we simply click, bam, the mistake has gone. Now we're going to start our own drawing process so that you can get inspired by your own drawing too. Let's go. First of all, we're going to select an existing canvas size. It's gonna be the very first square canvas size. Here we go. And now we're going to adjust it a little bit. That brings me to the benefit of digital drawing number one, and it is called crop and resize. It can be found in the canvas settings. It's a truly fantastic tool that allows us to adjust our canvases at any time without having to redraw anything. Well, there are situations when we accidentally, or not accidentally, when we need to adjust something, the entire composition, the perspective, the angle, whatever it can be for you, right? And instead of having to create a new canvas or redrawing everything once again, make sure to navigate to the crop and resize feature. So you can do this instead. Now we're going to adjust our own canvas size so that it's vertical. Now we're going to hit done. And the next step is to import our reference picture. And this is the huge benefit of digital drawing number two, which paper drawing doesn't have. The reference picture can also be found in the canvas settings, reference, image, and this is our Vitra interior. The window can also be adjusted, obviously, so that it doesn't distract you during your drawing process. And now we're going to start drawing. However, I'd suggest that we start with the paper sketch, because we just explore digital drawing a little bit, and so that you can explore paper at the same time, we're going to start with the paper drawing. However, I'm going to pick a pencil so that you see the differences between layers in real time. And let's go. First of all, I always define the overall composition for my illustration. It's crucial. It's a hack for you, number one. There will be a lot of hacks throughout this video, and I want you to take away a lot of insights today so that you can implement them in your own drawing process. And this is gonna be one of the most important ones. Before moving on to any details on your illustrations, you always start with the overall composition. For instance, my sofa is going to start somewhere here, Then the seed area is going to end approximately here. See, I'm not going into any details. And we have the back cushions. At the same time, I'm not pressing on the pencil. My strokes are light, I'm not analyzing anything. Here we go. It already looks good. Now we're going to repeat the same step, but on the iPad. I'm going to pick a dark shade of gray or almost black, and I'd like to use another pencil brush. For you, it can be the brush from the sketching brush set category, all those brushes. I'm working with my custom brush. We're going to start with defining the overall proportions too. I'm drawing them as best as I can. I'm not trying to be neat here. The goal is to define the future composition. That's all. Nothing more. We don't do overtasking here. Now, I'm going to draw the seed area. And then I'm going to move on to the back cushions. Now, we're moving on to the next big benefit of digital drawing. If something turned out to be really bad, it doesn't suit your composition, and you don't know what to do, well, look no further, because I'm about to show you one of the most powerful Procreate features for drawing, the selection tool. For instance, I'd like to make this area a little bit shorter, so all I need is to switch to the freeform. Then adjust the entire composition like this. If you want to master every single aspect of digital drawing, then you're more than welcome to draw with me at my 3D Drawing Academy, where I'll show you how to draw floor plans, 3D views, collages. Also, I'll be showing you how to use AI in your own design projects. Let me show you a couple of sketches from the course. For instance, you'll be drawing this stunning kitchen corner with me completely from scratch. Let me show you the drawing process here. From scratch, colors, details, and the sketch is done. Also, for instance, this illustration was generated, not illustration, the composition was generated with AI, and I also posted the drawing process on my Instagram. It went viral. People were crazy about this composition, so I decided to include this interior concept in my 3D Drawing Academy so that you can draw the same interior too with my clear step-by-step video guidance. Here's the link, by the way, and also all the info can be found below this video. Now, the pencil contours are done. They're not neat, it's just for us to see what our composition is going to look like. Now we're going to move on to the paper drawing. Let's now define where the coffee table will be drawn. In one stroke, without any analysis paralysis. And then at the same time, we're going to sketch couple of throw pillows. And one more throw pillow. This is an excellent example of how interior was merged with art, because this illustration was created by a famous British illustrator, Luke Edward Hill, as far as I remember. Make sure to check him out. His work is simply fabulous. And here again, I just wanted to zoom in my paper like this because I'm so used to drawing on my iPad. Oh my god. Done. The same goes for our iPad drawing. I'm using light strokes without any analysis paralysis. Perfect. And here's the thing. With the freehand selection tool, I can adjust the position of my coffee table at any time so that I have enough space, for instance, for this part of the sofa, as well as for this throw pillow. Here, however, we can't do that, right? We can't simply select the table and position it here. We should either erase it or simply redraw it like this. And then once we applied our black contours, we can obviously get rid of the pencil strokes. The sofa and the pillow. Now, since we're on our paper sketch, let's quickly draw the curtains. Well, here, nothing difficult, just super quick lines showing your personality. And this is, by the way, another hack for you. If we have to pick just one single aspect for how to learn how to draw, I'd suggest learning how to draw with confident lines and how to apply light and shadows in the professional way. The rest can be adjusted, but these two can't. These two can be replaced because this is your hand, this is your personality, this is exactly what makes you unique, what makes you stand out. Nowadays, the competition is huge, and that's why for us it's crucial to discover our strengths, our story, and communicate all of this properly. Now, I'm moving on to the iPad drawing, and it's the same thing. And I think we're ready to move on to the black contours. What do you think? I'm going to start with the iPad. First of all, I'm going to reduce the opacity of this layer, create a new one, switch to my thick contours, because the previous brush wasn't dense enough. And now, based on my quick sketch, I'm going to create the final composition for my Vitra interior. And see, again, if you messed up with your line, all you have to do is to click undo, that's all. This allows you to learn drawing faster, because you're learning from your mistakes. You can see what's working, what isn't working, and handle properly. Perfect. And I'm ready to move on to my paper sketch. We'll do the same. Again, this is insane. Have you seen that? I just tried, did you see that? I just tried to zoom in the canvas again. This is hilarious. If you've been drawing on the iPad, have you experienced something like that when you try to zoom in your paper sketch and then it isn't working? Something is wrong, but nothing is wrong. So now we're seeing that only one layer is available to us. One single canvas, that's all. So we basically have just one attempt. When it comes to digital drawing, what I really like about this approach, in addition to all those helpful features for interior design and so on, is that there we basically combine art with the technical side, because our illustrations, they don't look realistic at all. I mean, they still have that truly unique hand-drawn touch, right? But at the same time, it allows me to keep that composition so that every object belongs to the sketch, right? And at the same time, this approach allows me to experiment a lot, to see whether I'd like to add a white reflection here and here, or whether it's going to look weird. Of course, you can do the same when drawing on paper, right? But in my opinion, the learning curve is way longer compared to iPad. So, and at the same time, we're going to add some hatching. One of my students recently reached out to me and said that because she started her drawing journey on the iPad, she can now draw on paper in a more confident way. Because basically she did all of her mistakes on the iPad, and once she was ready, she moved on to paper. So let's move on to our iPad sketch. Here I'm going to create a new layer in a very comfortable way, so that I don't need to battle between multiple contours here. And now I'm drawing all the throw pillows. And one more here. Now, why did I decide to create a new layer? So that I can erase all the lines which can't be seen behind the throw pillows with ease, something that paper drawing doesn't have. Well, obviously you can erase, but once you apply your black contours, there is no turning back. Now I'm going to merge these layers, and on a new layer, I'm going to draw the final throw pillows. You can also experiment with different shapes, positions of your elements without worrying about messing the entire composition. Please don't get me wrong, I still like paper sketching a lot. This is how my drawing journey started. This is what I learned at the beginning, and this is what I still keep using in my work. But digital drawing gives you a completely new level of creativity. Have you ever heard of David Hockney? This is one of the most iconic British illustrators, and this is also my favorite artist of all times. He also started his painting journey with real materials, and this is how he also got recognition, obviously. But then, later in his life, he discovered iPad drawing, digital drawing. First, he started with his phone, and then he switched to the iPad, and he also saw that all the possibilities, all the colors and textures that digital drawing has to offer, it's all unbeatable at all. You don't have to carry around all those colors, because I don't know about you, but in order to showcase my vision and to communicate it with the world, I need a lot of colors, I need a lot of textures. And I once tried, actually a couple of times, I've tried to carry all those materials with me while traveling, while being on the beach, and I wanted to capture all that beauty, but oh boy, was it a catastrophe. In a sense that it was super windy, my canvas, slash notebook, was like all the time because of the wind. Then all the pencils literally were a mess because one pencil was there, one pencil was there. So I was more frustrated, with the physical part of the drawing process rather than with the creativity. So here, the iPad drawing allows you to focus on your creativity and develop your vision in a clear way without getting frustrated, because our energy is freaking precious and we don't want to waste it on basic things like trying to transport all the colors and pencils and markers properly. And also we don't have to forget about the cost of all those Copic markers. So here I'm filming this video from Munich, Germany, and I recently went to an art supply store, and the cost for one single marker was around about 8 euros. And imagine how many markers would we need to communicate our ideas in the detailed way. I don't even want to think about it. Okay, I could understand that if those markers were for the entire life. Like, we didn't need to buy more, right? But no, as soon as they're empty, you can either buy new ones or buy the replacement. I don't know what it's called, but you know what I mean, right? So it's more work for us, more work. Whereas here, it's one-time investment and you've got it. And again, if you need that paper fill, here we go. So I'd say I'm not asking you to stop drawing on paper, of course not, because I still draw on paper and I truly enjoy it. In fact, this is one of my favorite still life compositions that I created being inspired by my mom, because my mom has a flower garden and we live in different countries, and she really likes to send me different photos of her different flowers, and I get so inspired by them that I create a lot of drawings, and this is one of them, my favorite, and I'd like to frame it so that I can have it on my background for my videos. And by the way, all these strokes are so bold because I developed my technique on the iPad, and now knowing where what belongs, I can create such bold illustrations on paper with ease. And here it comes from someone with a lot of anxiety when it comes to applying lines and strokes on paper, because I am so afraid to mess up and then I have to buy the same canvas again so that I can start over and again and again. Now, we're going to move on to our paper drawing and finish the sofa. At the same time, you've probably noticed that, but when drawing on your iPad, you can also control the thickness of your lines. Because my current lines on paper, they're a little bit thin, right? It's good, obviously, I can buy some new pencils or so. But if I need a thicker pen right now, in this moment, unfortunately, I can't do that. First, I have to buy those. Now, we're going to move on to the table. Here, we have two approaches. We either draw it like this in one stroke, or we use all the features that Procreate has to offer. We draw an arch as best as we can. We hold the pencil down for a second, and here we go. I'm not a fan of that, so I'm going to draw my line like this. I know it isn't perfect, but sometimes I do it on purpose because I want my digital sketch to look like a paper sketch. So, if for instance, I can still start over, and now I like this composition even more. See the power of the freaking undo button. Now, another hack for you, if you'd like to draw the same line, you don't need to draw it because we have the duplicate option. Done, 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 done. Now on a new layer, I'm going to finalize my composition. Like this. And here we have a throw pillow. Am I drawing on a separate layer? Yes, I am. That means that now, on the previous layer, I can get rid of all the lines that I don't need. And here, by the way, I accidentally merged the layer with the pencil strokes with the layer with the black contours. Let me see whether I can bring that layer back. So I found where I accidentally merged my layers, and now I'm going to repeat the same drawing process once again because I really need to keep that layer separate so that you can see all the differences in real life. And I'm back. Now my pencil contours are on a separate layer, and this is a separate layer with the final contours. This is what it means to talk a little bit too much. Now I'm moving on to the paper sketch, and here I just need to add the final contours according to the composition. Sometimes I really like to add super spontaneous strokes so that they look a little bit too abstract, but this is the style I like. So you can, please feel free to pause this video. Well, of course, you can pause this video, it's YouTube. And then you can draw your sketch at your own pace. Now the step number, I don't know which step is that, one of the last ones, is to quickly draw the curtain on the background. And this is where our knowledge in light and shadows is crucial, and it plays one of the crucial roles here. Why? Because in order to avoid just boring vertical lines and that's all, we play around with the tonality, with the strokes, but at the same time we keep the light and shadow rule in mind. So these are our folds. At the same time, we're being a little bit playful with our lines, making our drawing look a little bit even abstract, I'd say, drawing the curtains. But I'm applying these only where my shadows are. I wouldn't be applying them somewhere here, for instance. Now we're going to do the same here. I'm going to create a new layer and illustrate the curtain on the background. Here, basically, I'm not really looking at the reference picture, to be honest. This is where my soul is drawing, so to speak. The curtains are more or less done, and this is where I usually disable the layer with the pencil strokes, like this, create a new layer below all the layers with the contours, and start applying my marker strokes. For instance, for the curtain, I'd like to apply a couple of these strokes without going into any details. And again, because I'm currently working with the foundations, knowing where to apply and how to apply all the shadows, I do all this intuitively. I also have a fantastic brush for mastering shadows. And this is the result I'm able to achieve with the right brushes. The right brush indeed brings the right result. By the way, since we're on this topic, I'd like to show you a super inspiring example. So first I have to get rid of all those marker strokes. And while I'm doing this, let me share a context with you. Basically, this is a student of mine, and she was so convinced that she can draw that she didn't start an ONO for a very long time, for years, because she was convinced she can draw. She wasn't born into a creative family and all these things. And today she shared this drawing with me and I was speechless. This person had never drawn before, and just look at the result she recently created. It's one of the very first modules on foundations, and just look at her results. First time drawing such complex compositions. So if you want to also draw like this with ease, welcome at the SDV Academy. So now I'm also going to add a couple of strokes to the sofa without going to any details, because here the idea is to simply play around with colors and give that general color look, I'd say, like a pencil sketch. When you just apply markers, shadows, and that's all. And on a separate layer, I'm going to add color to these cushions. So now I'd like to merge those, create another layer, pick a darker shade, and add that shadow below. And as for the table, basically there is a fantastic technique which allows you to use the reflection of your current composition instead of having to draw it. If you like, I can show it to you, no problem at all. So first, we need to save the image. Then we import it, flip vertically, reduce the opacity, position it inside the table, and then using the selection tool, we get rid of all the other things which aren't relevant in this composition. And voila, our reflection is done. Obviously at the top we usually apply some strokes showing that it is a reflection, like this. And of course, don't forget to use the eraser when you went outside the boundaries. Obviously, when you draw on paper and you accidentally go outside the boundaries, you can't do that. Now the last step is the following. I'd like to add a thickness to the table. Like this. Then at the bottom we have some legs. On my channel, by the way, I have a video on all the important features of the Procreate app for interior design. Make sure to check it out. And there you'll be learning about all these features in more detail, because here this is not the topic of this video. So this is the topmost layer. And just look at this before and after. All the random strokes should be erased, obviously. So, to be honest, I think I'm done with my super quick sketch. On the very top, I imitate this marker I showed you earlier in this video, and I simply add some thick strokes, showing that it is a quick interior sketch. Because basically the center of composition is our table and the sofa. So that means we aren't going to add any black contours there, maybe just a little bit here. And see, this is how you can experiment, whether you need those strokes or not. You can also see whether you'd like to add a dark stroke here or not. Actually, I don't want to add it. Here, it'll also be too much. And I feel like that's it. I wouldn't add anything else to it, to be honest. Here, you see it's way too much. And this is how you're able to see what suits you and what doesn't. This is the power of iPad drawing. What is going on in my emails? Anyway, we talked about the iPad a little bit too much. What's going to happen with our paper sketch? Well, here, we only have this marker, right? Because I don't have the entire marker collection, unfortunately. I have a couple of ones, but they're pretty old. To be honest, I don't even know whether they're going to work or not. Maybe they're already dried. I don't know. Well, not. Well, theoretically, usually we would do something like that. Oh my god, it's such an old marker. I think I purchased it back in 2017 or something like that while being an interior design student, a broke interior design student. And I couldn't really afford markers too much, and that's why I needed to pick my favorite colors and draw with them. Well, not so much changed since then, because I still refuse to pay so much for those markers, to be honest, especially when we have iPad. But in case you do have an entire marker collection, I assume that you'll be doing something like that. But still, to be honest, when you have such radical situations, you still come up with interesting ideas, you know, how to mix colors, use other markers in order to reach your goals. So it wasn't that bad. I mean, it made me appreciate, obviously, all those 3 colors I had back then. No, it's too dry for that, I'm sorry. I'm going to take a look what else I have. So this color is a little bit too dark, or actually it can work, but see, this is, I mean, you can see it right now. It basically limits me from my creativity, because first I have to pick the right color scheme, color choice, so that it doesn't look way too dark. And this one is way too dark, obviously, but I don't have any other colors, so this is the only choice I'm going with right now. But still, it looks quite interesting, I'd say, because of those quick strokes and so on. But you see what I mean? Now we would probably need a dark stroke here, however, I'm not sure whether it's going to work or not. And again, here we can't really experiment, like seeing whether it's going to work or not. Either the line is here or it isn't, that's all. And I don't know, do we need a dark stroke here? Maybe, maybe not. Basically, you can still recognize my drawing style, right? But at the same time, I feel like it is a little bit limiting because I don't have all the colors And because my markers are so old, they don't draw in the best way, as you can see, but I'm glad that I tried. And that's why when it comes to my paper sketches, I usually draw with the black pen and add reflection with this pen only. And Anna is back. So see, I don't really use much colors. I really like this black and white touch on my sketches. I just apply more strokes, more hatching to the darkest areas. I use this Copic marker for deep shadows. This is, by the way, another Vitra sketch. This is an interior from the Vitra campus Weil am Rhein. So this is their main headquarters at the border between Switzerland and Germany. Totally recommend visiting the space, especially if you're an interior designer and architect. And a couple of more sketches. See, so this is not the style I would go with. I just really wanted to show you, you know, the difference, the real life difference between drawing on paper and drawing on the iPad. Well, we've come to the end of this session. How do you feel? Definitely let me know. Make sure to share your sketch if you were drawing with me real time. And yeah, see you in the next video where we'll be talking about drawing, design, and travel in general.